Gathering Greenhouse,
a podcast to help us grow together.
I'm Steve.
Rebecca.
And Matt's over there either Googling how much it costs to get a haircut or texting his grandma.
Neither.
His barber.
His barber. He's texting his barber because we just found out Matt's best friend is his barber.
One of them.
Okay, here, this brings up a good question. Can you have more than one best friend?
Yes.
Okay, stop. Because I feel like it's not a best friend. Best means the best, right?
Yeah.
How can you have more than one friend that is the best?
I think if you're in fifth grade,
it's not really a best friend. Oh, in fifth grade?
Fifth grade, you can have more than one best friend.
Yeah, but anything that happens in fifth grade, you can't, doesn't really count in the rest of your life.
It's kind of my jam, though,
So what do you think? Can you have more than one best friend?
Well, do you have a best friend?
Yes.
Is it a childhood best friend?
See, that was where I was going with that because I feel like if the argument you could make is that you had a childhood best friend and then like you had to move away, and then you make another best friend.
Well, yeah. I think if you're saying your best friend, that's who your best friend is at the moment. My best friend is also my childhood best friend. Yeah. So that we're still best friends.
I thought you might say that Jesus should be your best friend.
Oh, Jesus juked me in that.
Jesus juked you.
I did it to you once on here, so it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't bring it up, and neither did Matt. He's still texting his grandma right now.
I'm not texting.
But you had a childhood best friend, and you have your current best friend.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you can have whoever is your current best human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about do like husbands and wives count, or they can't count as your best? Because you always hear I married my best friend, and you're just like, stop it. I want to say other things. I'm going to smack him.
Why? Why does this bring out hostility in you?
Of course, I love spending time with Maria, and my life isn't like the same without her when she's not around. Like she probably has just no problem being without me. I'm much more of the people person, but it's like, well, I mean, they're kind of your best friend, but it's different. It's a totally different relationship that doesn't fit into the realm of any other relationships that you have.
Right. It's your primary. The two really are supposed to become one.
Yes.
So are you best friends with yourself? Maybe we can go
Not
deep
really.
with this.
No, I don't. Now we're going to start analyzing it.
I mean, like my husband, we've been married for a long time, but he is one of my. He's like, but I don't think of him as my best friend. I think of him as my husband.
Okay. Do you have hobbies that you do together?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Like what?
Like, I mean, we like the same TV shows.
Okay.
We like to.
Watching TV a hobby? I kind of think it is.
I mean, it's our bonding time. It's where we sit and talk. We're so busy.
Yeah.
That's where we sit and talk and we hold hands.
This is like, oh, do you really?
Oh, yeah. And our kids are like, but that's where we don't, we just sit there and we watch and we laugh and just like The Office and stuff,
I'm not a big hand holder.
No?
No.
Oh, Steve. You should be romantic. Matt, are you a hand holder?
I'm bad with that.
I want to know because I've been single for quite a...
I'll answer this for Matt. Yes, he is. He's a big cuddler too.
I probably am. I just don't know.
He does like dogs a lot. If you observe him around dogs, you know that he's a romantic.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it depends on who you are and what season of life you're in.
I think we should also point out that Matt is chugging a Mountain Dew right now.
That's probably bad.
Is your grandma texting you back?
No.
Okay.
We did just have an athletic morning, though.
We did.
So that I'm drinking my caffeine, so is he. Yeah.
So we played some pickleball, and Rebecca did really, really good.
No.
Dominated everybody.
No. But Steve is good at...
I'm just competitive. I like to do that
I can tell, but you were good. You and David, the oldest guys out there.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that they ruled Matthew, who's not paying attention?
His mind is somewhere else right now.
No.
Or maybe it's, he's working on a best friend for life.
You're cultivating.
Okay. Oh, whoa.
Wow. Next thing you know, you'll be holding hands with somebody.
This may tie into what we're talking about later, too. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. We might have some questions for Matt.
I'm going to shut up now.
Okay. He's going to get silent. He's going to get silent.
This is on record, too.
Did we ask Matt a question? I can't remember. Was he supposed to answer? Okay, well, let's talk about the chili bowl. Let's talk about the chili bowl.
It was about pickleball rules.
Oh, okay.
Pickleball
And I
rules.
thought
Was it
they were
pickleball rules? Like, yes, it rules, or is it pickleball rules like telling us the rules?
The question I believe was were the pickleball rules fair?
Wrong.
Were they fair?
The question was, is it fair to say that the two oldest guys on the court ruled at pickleball?
Not
it fair?
necessarily,
I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
because Kelly also balled
Yeah.
out.
Kelly
True.
is a man, and he's really good at it too. But we had fun today. It
True.
was nice. We don't work. We just play pickleball.
Matt is very observant. But let's move on to Chili Bowl.
Okay. You need a
Yeah.
round of applause. Matt's going to help
Thank you.
for Chili Bowl. It was a great Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
What was
it
your favorite part of the whole thing?
Okay, so my favorite part was probably something that the majority of people weren't even aware of or didn't see. But for the past probably month, I started recruiting people to help with it because we need a lot of people just to set up and tear down and do all that. So I went to some people who were newer to the church, some people who were younger, some people who weren't connected, and say, hey, would you want to come early and be part of the setup and tear down group? And I was like, it's just so cool to see people who, haven't really got to take a big part in the mission of the church, to put them into a Sunday where we don't have a chili bowl unless these people are coming early and setting up. So there's a direct correlation to what I'm doing is directly helping this event happen, and therefore the mission of the church to succeed lies in the hands of them. So I love that because it's you get the direct feedback of wow, what I did actually meant something to this group of people. I took part in this awesome event. And then afterwards, seeing all of them, because it was our young adult group, just hanging out and talking to each other and meeting people. I kind of try to get some of my connections people involved. So, the conversations could start up. So that was my favorite part. Is just seeing all the people come and set things up, and everyone just had such a great attitude. I got a bunch of text messages afterwards from the people who came early. Was hey, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I just just coming up with a plan, thinking I know what's going to happen, seeing it actually play out the way I was hoping it is cool.
It looked very smooth and very well done. With a lot of chili.
Lots and lots of chili.
Were there 64?
There were, and people probably don't know this, but Rebecca entered hers and didn't want it to be judged because she didn't want to win against the ringer.
Wrong. I didn't bring one.
Oh, you didn't bring one at all?
Remember this? No.
No,
somebody
I thought
was
you
don't
signed
bring
up.
chili
Oh,
because we have enough. And I was like,
okay, so you didn't even bring it.
No.
I thought that you did a no judging.
No,
someone had told me that. Someone said Rebecca didn't want to get hers judged because she won last year. I'm like, that's the reason that the other people got first, second, and third, because you didn't put your chili in there.
Y'all, I will send anyone the recipe that wants it. It's not even my recipe, but it's good.
That
It's
good.
Wants it. Right?
No, that would actually be really fun to release a chili bowl recipe book.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You should do that with all your spare time.
It was your idea.
Oh, so you want me to do it?
I don't think it would be that hard. All we'd have to do is create a form, and literally we could just print the form out. Hey, anyone who wants to take part of it.
What percentage do you think of people would actually give you their chili recipe? Out of the people that were there last night.
I think the serious people wouldn't want to, because they might give you but they have to give us some of the ingredients for we don't want anyone to eat something they shouldn't. So they at least give us that. But would they give us a recipe? Cooks are pretty secretive with their recipes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like that, but
so I maybe 60%, maybe a little bit higher.
it would be curious. I'd like to know. My favorite was chili the one that got second place.
Okay.
Did you get to even taste the
I
chili?
actually got to eat one bowl of chili, and I actually had to combine two chilies together in one bowl.
Oh my.
Poor thing.
I usually do get to eat chili. I do it while the service is going on, but the service was only 35 minutes total. So I didn't really have much time. And then we had a medical incident that I had to help with, which ended up fine. Everything was okay. But that, all of that, just made me not be able to get back and have chili.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I enjoyed yesterday.
And the desserts were good too.
Yeah, there was a lot too.
Yeah.
I had this lemon cupcake. I don't know who made, but it was amazing.
I bet it was Mary Lou.
It was very very
'cause-
pretty too. So I was like, this must be Mary Lou.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But
Bet
I
it
met a
was.
lot of people that I have never met before yesterday, which is nice because I'm usually in the kids pod.
Yeah.
So I just loved seeing all those. There was a lot of people all together. It was just kind of moving, sort of. Like look at us all. We're fellowshipping. We're a huge church, but we're doing it. Love
Yeah, it was funny how church world when we work here, we're used to the numbers and we're used to that, and like really Chili Bowl's actually at like less attendance than on a normal Sunday, so it's kind of like we're actually people get really excited because we're all in one room, but everybody who normally shows up on a Sunday showed up, we wouldn't fit in that room.
We're going to go up, like you said.
Yes,
next year.
So great. Well, I know that we all had a good time, and I'll look forward to Chili Bowl next year, but I don't know how we're going to put it on. We have to figure that one out.
No, it's next year, right? We won't worry about it till
not yet.
About a month before, right?
Not yet.
I'm just kidding. It takes you, I know, a long time to do that.
Yeah.
Not just a month.
Yep. So let's get into a couple things here. I read this article. I thought I would share it with you and get your thoughts because this is something I don't know. I've maybe like secretly always wanted to do, which is like be a part of like a museum robbery, like there's so many movies,
like
museum heists.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, a lot of those movies out there that exist. Do you have a good one, Matt?
National
Treasure. Yeah,
I love that movie.
Any one of those. So I was reading this article and I could not believe the title of it, but it was 1,700 items missing from England's museums. So I don't know how many exactly museums were involved in this, but it said that there were from these British museums, so Scottish museums and museums in the Wales, so like that whole area there, that there were 1,700 items missing, and it said that the people, they actually fired some guy over this because they're saying that obviously the security is not very good.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, have you ever been in a museum and thought to yourself, could I steal that thing?
No. But I do
Would you
wonder
come in at
sometimes, like, isn't somebody going to steal that? Like some things are just like not like secured down.
Like someone could walk away with that
and
thing?
just like take it. And I'm sure there's like alarms and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, what have you? I've not wanted to steal anything.
Really?
Nuh-uh.
Never.
No.
Never. If I had like terminal cancer or if I could have a superpower and be like invisible.
Well, let me think what I would steal.
Would you? But
what would I steal?
What about robbing a bank? No, you don't. You never would not. Not even if you could, and there was zero consequences.
Well,
I wouldn't want to hurt anyone.
No,
Get
yeah,
that
you just
straight.
You
I'm
just
not
want
going to bring in a gun. But I would just. I don't know. Just stuff that you're not allowed to do in real life.
I mean, the only thing I want to do that I'm not allowed to do is speed in my car. That's what I would do. But if I was going to take something from a museum, it would probably be like a really beautiful, like a Monet.
Okay.
Like I'd steal that sucker.
I think like
Monet.
Maybe like jewels. I don't know, just because that's like the traditional heist from a.
So you could like fence it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the black market.
So my question is, so like in this article that I read here, was it like there was kind of a discrepancy? They were saying that some stuff was either stolen or missing, right? And this guy who got fired argued that it was like a clerical oversight. Would you believe that? Do you think 1,700 items missing from all these museums?
No, I mean, it depends on the span of time we're talking about too. Like how long was it? But I just think dudes,
Would you fire the person too?
There.
I think
if you lost 1,700 items.
I think someone's got to get fired.
Yeah.
If an article gets published like that where you're missing that much stuff.
Even I would fire him, Even I would do it. I'd be like, dude, you got to go.
Because apparently they weren't like straightforward about this. This media company said PA Media filed a information request in the Freedom of Information law, and that's how this like got out. So it wasn't like something that they necessarily wanted to out.
Oh no!
That like they had, since it's a public institution, like someone was digging and found all this stuff.
That poor guy. I feel sorry for him. How's he going to get another job now?
Yeah, and it says notable was a National Portrait Gallery with 45 not located items.
Portraits. Like, how does one lose a portrait?
Well, I mean, just because it's a portrait gallery doesn't necessarily mean everything in there was portraits, because they have special exhibits and other things going on. But yeah, I mean, obviously there must have been. It says war items, false mustaches, why would you have false mustaches? Albert says Albert Museum was missing false mustaches. So there's all kinds of strange stuff missing there.
Albert, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna steal that mustache.
Yes.
Why?
Would you want a false mustache stolen from a museum? All right.
It's a little weird.
So that's my side thing I just thought was interesting. And it brought it up because, we bring a lot of supplies over with us from Chili Bowl, and we had these trays that we were going to give to families to we're going to do something nice for them, give the parents a tray, and then they can put all the stuff on a tray and take it. We couldn't find them. And then I saw it in the closet in the stuff that came back from the Chili Bowl. So
that's the worst.
We had it the whole time.
That's the worst.
No one could locate them, and I couldn't get out there because I was up on the stage.
And next year, that's going to be the first thing that comes to your brain. Where are those trays?
Where are the trays? Did we pack those
You're
things?
traumatized.
They were missing, but not stolen. It was a clerical error.
Could you
Clerical
say
error.
traumatized?
We were traumatized.
We could if we were dorky.
Parents.
But we are dorky. So
That is true.
So what I thought would be fun, we'd go over some proverbs today and kind of talk through those. But I know you had something else that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah,
so let's hit that first.
We're having a kids event on Sunday after third service. So from we'll feed the kids lunch after the lobby sort of clears out, and we'll stay until 2:30. And what we're going to do is our event is called I Love the Bible. We love the Bible, and it sounds a little hokey, but we're going to talk about the Bible. We're going to talk about how many books are in it and start building some more of that basic knowledge in the younger kids. Our 4th and 5th graders have already been exposed to the Summit, which is our discipleship program for kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. But we're going to hit them with a little bit different material, a little more challenging material. It's going to be fun. We're going to have, like we normally do, we're going to have games and crafts. We're going to have canes for
Is there going to be a
lunch.
Bible stacking competition?
I don't know, but that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I'm going to steal that. It's like Steve knows what he's doing. You were a youth minister.
See how high you can stack them?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Except,
do we have enough Bibles to stack that high?
I don't know. I might have some. We'll have to see.
Hey, I know a place where you can get really cheap Bibles is the Dollar Book Swap in Dayton.
You could just
lots and lots. Oh yeah, they have tons of Bibles there, but they're like King James one. Like ones that's not gonna be good kids Bibles. Tiny
you
print.
know what I mean? The little bitty. Yeah,
exactly.
Can't see those anymore. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So you can still register on Planning Center. You just go on Planning Center and register your kids for that. Great. Or just email me, Rebecca.
So how many books are in the Bible?
66.
66? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a reason there's 66?
No. Do you think there's a reason there's 66?
I mean, 6 is not a good number in the Bible. So,
maybe
7 is the better one.
It's only 2 6s, though. It's not 3.
Yeah,
Does that
right.
help? Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. I know that my kids are planning to come to it.
Good.
I don't know. They haven't asked me about it, so I'm sure you've talked about it. But they haven't quite got the excitement yet. But I'm sure they will because they always really enjoy the things you do. So what grade levels are allowed to come to this? So
4 years old up to 5th grade.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 4 years old. Yeah.
4 to 5th grade. So a very wide range. That's awesome.
Yep.
And it's going to be depending on the age what they'll do and which Sunday again.
It's going to be this Sunday, the 4th.
Coming Sunday, the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
February 4th.
We'll feed them.
Right after church,
get
food, register on planning or on Church Center.
Oh, sorry, Church Center.
I almost said the same thing.
Sorry
Church Center app.
Yeah.
Find all the details. You can register on there.
And just email me if you have questions.
Great. That sounds like a good time.
I love having the kids after church.
Yeah.
They're just so sweet and, wound up by the time they go home.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, parents.
Yes. Okay, so I have a few proverbs here.
Okay.
And some of them, like the first two, are similar, but there's I think a unique difference between these. So let's just work through them. What I'd like to hear from you is on the how does this apply to kids or families or things like that. I was thinking along the lines, and then I might kind of share some other stuff too.
Okay.
So the first one is Proverbs 3:5. Does that ring a bell at all?
Sure. I have the whole book memorized.
Sometimes people these are you'd know them when I say them, but trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of thing that stands out to me with that one is do not rely on your own understanding.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand teenagers oftentimes.
Yeah.
Or
I wasn't going that way with it, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's a large element. Having raised two young men to adulthood and currently raising a middle schooler.
Yeah.
There's a lot to just kind of leaning on God and saying, I'm going to have to trust you with this because I don't know what to do with this.
Like they're doing things that you say they're headed down the wrong path. And then you're like, I'm just going to trust that everything's going to, like they're just figuring out life. Is that where you're going with this?
Well, when they start, the first kid, when they start exploring those questions that they have on their own, we didn't have Summit.
Biblical
back
questions,
in the day.
you're saying? Like, does God exist? Or,
those kinds of questions.
Where'd the Bible come from? What all those big questions?
All the stuff we teach in Summit.
Okay.
Right? All those things. That you can panic if you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to be, he says he's not an anarchist. What's the one where you don't? Atheism. He's an atheist, or they're this or they're that. I think you do have to rely on God and say, okay, God, I've done all the things that I think are right, that I feel you led me to do with this child, and now I have to let you handle this because there's nothing else I can do about it. Yeah. It's the worst.
I don't want to think about it.
But it works out. Like God does this thing. If your child has made a decision to follow Christ, Christ is going to lead them and guide them from within.
Right.
And there's so much power in that. Right. Not to get all like heavy.
Right.
But there is so much power.
Well, let's get heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think learning to trust God. I mean, you got to do your duty.
Well,
you
I think let's talk to parents and grandparents for a second on that, because for sure that there's families at the gathering that have kids that they're concerned about.
Yes.
Every church has it. No matter if they're saying it or not saying it, there's grandparents who are concerned about the direction, because we want all of our kids to be on the right path. So like, what would you say to them if they're like, hey, they were, in church as a kid and now they've hit the high school and they're questioning some of the things they say? What type of advice might you give?
Well, having done this for a while and sort of keeping track of kids who I ministered to or pastored along the way, I can look back and say like, oh man, even I was really worried about that kid, but I knew they had a genuine relationship with Jesus. I knew they did because I talked to them and I could tell that Jesus working, the Holy Spirit's working on them. And so with things, if you worry, oh, is this kid going to turn out okay? And how is this going to look for them? There's just only so much you can do. It's the same concept of we teach them in the way they should go, like the Bible tells us to, and then we have to trust God with the results. Yeah. Because I think most of the kids and now adults that I have that are, love Jesus, they eventually come back around to it. Mm-hmm. And they may not do that, but we're not God. We don't know what's going on in their heads, right? And they're not always going to tell us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you just have to wait it out a lot of the time, which stinks because you want to see that very tangible result, but you're not going to get it most of the time with kids that are kind of exploring things and sort of trying to lean away from you and develop their own faith and those kinds of things. They're going to do that. It's fine. Like most of the time it's fine. And if it's not fine, they are God's responsibility.
Right.
God loves that precious, precious child of his. That's your child, but it's really God's child. Does that make sense?
It does. And my kids are younger, so I don't have a lot of parenting experience where you do with some of the kids who have gone through that and come out the other side. Mm-hmm. But I've worked in youth ministry for a long time, and I know that one thing that I always pushed, and I pushed parents on, was like, encourage your kids to ask questions. Like, don't just like it's you want them to know the basics, but you also want them to question the basics for themselves, because you have them for a period of time. They're going to go off to college, and if they haven't question their own faith, when they get to college, their professors, their friends are gonna push them on those things that they never worked on, they never thought about. So I was always big on like, well, why do you believe that? Or how do you know the Bible's real? How do you know that God exists? Like, just like, if you can't answer those questions, you're never gonna like, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah. How do I know that? Like, my parents told me God exists, so I don't know.
I think a lot of times an obstacle for parents who are like have kids that they don't like to hear questions from their kids is because they think they don't know the answer.
Yeah, the kids or the parents.
The parents. They're like, I don't know I might not know the answers if they ask me, and then I'm going to look like God's not real.
I think that's okay. I think
it is too.
I've always encouraged people, even like our small group leaders, to say, I don't know. because it's okay. Like you can learn too, and the more honest and real you are, it's all about authenticity. If you can just say, "Hey, I'm figuring this out too. Like let's figure it out together."
A great kind of way that I did this. Maybe intermittently. I didn't do this every time, but I'm really big on sitting down at the table together for dinner. If we can do it, like let's do that, and we should prioritize it. And that is a great time to bring up questions with your kids. We do this thing in my house called the question of the day. Well, most of the time, sometimes we don't do it, but we'll ask like, would you rather do this or that, or what do you think God?
Would you rather rob a bank or rob a museum?
Exactly, like those things. And so I think with that's a great time to kind of. If you're nervous about questions your kids may have,
we just maybe came up with another great idea here of like cards we can send home with families, like dinner time cards.
Well, the summit. This is what the summit does. This is what the summit does.
Do they have like questions that are dinner time questions? For
they get a card on there, and it's the question of the like the month, and their job is to take that card home, read the question, and discuss it with an adult or their parents, or even their youth pastor or whatever. Because some of our kids don't actually come to the gathering. Discuss it with somebody. Yeah. I think if you as a parent don't know the answer to a question, just like you said, tell your kid, I don't know, but that's really interesting and we're going to find out. Yeah. Like in our case, my son Garrett is autistic, and Garrett could come up with some really like good questions, that even I'm like, I don't know, son, but I guess I'll look it up. Like even, I don't know, I have a degree in the Bible and I don't know, it's a question. But I think it's fun. Like, of course I'm a geek, a Bible geek. You probably are too. I think it's a great thing to do. Just get those discussions going. Another time to talk about this is in the car. Have you noticed with your kids that you can get them to talk to you in the car better than you can anywhere else, probably? Yeah. So it's a great time to talk. And you can be like deliberate about it without making it goofy or like always constantly talking about the Bible. You don't want to do that either, because then that's just kind of odd. And your kid's like, I know, Mom, Jesus loves me. And the Holy Spirit is made up of three, the Father, all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? My kids would be like, oh, that's ironic, Mom, that you're saying that. But, you don't have to browbeat them. But, be ready. And, yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next one here, because I think these two are like subtly different. And that's what I love when Proverbs do this, because you kind of like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. But the next one is Proverbs 4:23, one chapter away here. Guard your heart above all else, for it is a source of light. So the first one was trust in the Lord with all your heart, right? And then now it's saying, guard your heart above all else, for it is a source of life.
This is where, for me, what's coming out to me is this is where you have the discussion with your kids. If you look at that on the internet, that you're not supposed to look at, whatever it may be, it is going to hurt you. Like you're going to let some darkness into your world that you don't want there. And they'll say, well, what do you mean? I'll say, well, do you like to feel bad? Do you like to walk closer to Satan than you do to Jesus? I wouldn't put it like that with a kid, but do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's where I'm like, you can look at stuff while I'm not around. I can't control that. Like I don't know what you're doing sometimes when you're not with me. You're at school or your friend has a phone or whatever. You can see the phones coming up, because that's a big concern to me with these phones and these 10-year-olds with phones, and they've got internet access. I'm like, what? And they're watching TikTok, stuff like that. So that's what comes to me is that, like, watch what you see. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see, that thing.
So I see that side of it too. So I feel like there's two sides. There's the avoid things, and then the other side is like do something, right? So the other side, like do it, is like if like the thing to combat lies is truth, right?
Right.
So understanding what the Bible says about things and how God wants us to live protects our heart. Because if you know the right way to live, and if you know like Proverbs is great because it tells you how to live your life, how to deal with people, how to deal with difficult situations. So the more of that you have in you and in your mind, the more you can say, well, I don't really know what to do in this situation, but the Bible tells me to do this. So I'm going to follow that path. And like the more you can stay on the right path, the better your life is going to be. So really looking at the advice from how God has ordered our lives is extremely helpful, right? So like teaching them what it looks like to be kind to people, to deal with difficult situations, to learn from our mistakes. All those things can help us to be better people. So like learning that stuff can help you guard your heart. Plus, I also look at it this way too, is that like, I just think of bullies, and like social media has gotten so much worse. You kind of touched on that a little bit with the, like, you're getting on the internet and stuff, but like now there's so much of stress and anxiety tied to like social media. Like, to guard your heart is to like say, hey, what's on the internet is not real life. What you're experiencing at school, I know it's really, really difficult, really, really tough.
But it's temporary.
It's temporary. Like, reminding them of that. The way you feel right now is not going to be the way you feel forever.
Yes.
To know that, like, hey, you're loved by your parents, and you're loved by God, and your identity is rooted in Him. So if you can find your identity in God, and that's never changing, that can help you guard your heart.
Yeah, and I think you point these things out. Like, hey, kid, this is when you're an adult. This is still, the guideline, or this is still the place you look, or God is still your primary, like, number one, like,
right,
all the time, all those things. And with the guarding your heart part, I mean, it's so hard to explain to a child what sin is going to do to them. You know what I mean? And
for adults too, let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like with us, we can say, well, you can get arrested for that.
Like,
are you gonna,
or like, God will forgive me.
Yeah, well, that's a brave one there.
Yeah.
Kids will say that to me a lot, sometimes. They'll say, well, isn't God going to forgive me if I do it?
Yeah.
Well, now you got two sins going on. You got the one, the one that's going on in here, and the one you're doing with your hands.
Yeah.
Right. So you can do two things. I mean, you could talk so much to your kids about what needs to go in their heart and why they need to guard it.
Yeah.
Like, they have a choice. You can either let darkness in or don't let it in.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we have time for one more.
Okay.
This one is funny. I thought this one was hilarious. And sometimes just the way Proverbs are written, this is, go to the ant, you slacker. Observe its ways and become wise. Proverbs 6:6.
Okay. You slacker.
So
go to the ant. I was like, is it
a hard
A-U-N-T
worker?
or A-N-T?
A hard worker. They never stop. So depends on, but like, there's in like the insect world, right? There's a lot of workers, and then there's a few that like kind of guide them. So I think there's a lot of like wisdom in nature and the way things work, like that.
Yeah.
So like looking at it and saying, man, like, God designed them and their ecosystem and the way they work. But ants are hard workers.
They are hard workers, and they have to be humble too. Not everybody is a queen.
Never is a queen, and I think those are all really good life lessons because, like, media and marketing says a lot to us of like, we need to have more followers, or we need to be the best looking, or the most athletic, or make the most money. But not everyone can do that, right? The majority of people are just your average people. So like, if your view on success is being a superstar and anything less, you're going to be disappointed in life. Like, you have to say that God has given me exactly what I want and exactly what I need right now, and I need to be okay with that. I think those are great life lessons.
And God knows how He made you.
Yeah.
Like, He knows what will make you happy. Like, people might think they want to be Taylor Swift, but do you really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That poor woman can't even watch a football game. Do you know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. And all these people that are famous that have had, or they win the lottery and they get famous and then they lose their whole life.
Yeah.
Over it. Those kinds of things. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be famous. Like, no thanks. Like, not that kind of famous. You know what I mean?
And I think that, like, also on the other side of it too is just hard work is actually good for us as people. It helped, like, we were designed to be active and do things and contribute to society and make the world a better place. Like, that's how we were designed to live here. So like, if you don't take part in that, then you're really missing out on what a successful life looks like.
Yeah. And, don't be a kid at my house and like be at church and everyone's putting up chairs and you're sitting off to the side doing nothing. That won't go well for you.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's so rude. Like, get up and help.
Yeah.
Like, be a helper. Be that person that contributes to what's going on.
Yeah.
And not just what was it?
Yeah.
Slacker?
A slacker.
Sluggard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably the if you I don't know
Is it
exactly
the message?
no, I don't know what I don't remember which translation I
Gotcha.
picked, but it sounds like sluggard would be.
Yeah.
You could probably take slacker and sluggard and like interchange them.
Yeah. There's just so much satisfaction in work. And I think kids, if we don't make them work, they're not going to understand. Like work is actually very satisfying most of the time.
Yeah. So how can you model that? What do you have any?
You just work yourself. With somebody stacking chairs, you're stacking them too. Like I always say, if you don't like to vacuum and you don't like to stack chairs, don't get into ministry.
Yeah.
Because you're going to vacuum and you're going to stack chairs.
Yeah.
You know,
I always, like on my teams, I would always love when parents would like bring their kids along and they'd serve with them doing something.
Yep.
So I think that's a really great example of like, oh, we don't just say that we should help out. We don't just read the Bible and like say, oh, that's good for knowledge, but it's actually good to apply it to your life and have your kids see you putting it into action.
It's not that hard, especially like say you're at the store and somebody dumps jelly beans all over the floor, right?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there trying to pick them up.
Yeah.
Are we just really going to walk by?
Yeah.
Are we going to stop? We're going to help pick up the jelly beans.
Right.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And then like tell your kids afterwards, hey, that was the right thing to do. Thank you for helping.
Oh, I mean, they'll roll their eyes and huff and puff, sometimes. And I'm like, oh,
I don't have a problem with Harper at all about that.
Oh, yeah. She's a
She wants to
natural
help
helper,
out.
though.
She wants to, yeah.
And some kids are more inclined to help than others, too.
And I'm sure, it may not last forever, but
yeah,
it does right now.
I think some kids, like I said, they're just more inclined. Like my second born is way more inclined to stop and help than one of the other. I won't say which one it is.
Yeah, right.
But I'm like, wow, that wasn't born in you. It was born in him. It was not born in you.
Yeah.
And I think that work is, like I said, just so satisfying. Like chores, at home. Did your parents make you do chores?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of chores?
Like take out the trash, clean the dishes.
Did you do your own laundry?
No, we didn't do our own laundry. I think that we had to put our own laundry away, but we didn't actually.
Was there an age where your mom said, all right, Steve, or your dad said, all right, Steve, now you got to do your own laundry?
No.
No?
No. I don't think we ever had to.
Lucky. Did you know how to do it when you moved out?
Yeah.
You did? From watching your mom?
Probably.
Or your dad?
I mean, maybe I don't have the greatest memory either. So my mom could be watching me like, yeah, we made you do the laundry. So I don't think so. But I always felt like, I don't know, the laundry doesn't, like you just put it in a machine and hit go, right? Is there other things you have to do?
If you're a man, you do.
Okay, what else do you have to do?
Okay, so my second son, the one that lives on his own.
That's what I do. Comes out okay.
This is what men do. This I shouldn't call him a boy. He's my boy. This boy will just dump his whole
What's wrong with that?
Oh my gosh. And I'm spraying the stains and I'm sorting it so there's no pink socks that turn everything pink.
Okay.
And that's not
I've never gotten a pink sock ever.
You have two
what
guys
about a red sock that you threw in it?
Nope. Never once.
I wear black socks. So
What about Harper though? Has her anything in her laundry ever contaminated with its red color?
Well, so the way we do our laundry is a little bit different than the average person because we have something special on our machine that does some different things. So
you have a fancy washing machine?
Well, no, we have a fancy thing that feeds into the washing machine.
Okay.
That I don't want to get in. I don't want to get in and bore people with it,
You have to tell
or
me
people
later.
think I'm a weirdo because I have this thing at home. But
they're going to be like, we like Steve till we found out he had a weird washing machine.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like, I don't know. It's something that like commercial places do with their like hospitals and hotels. Like it's like an ion thing that goes into your water, but it's like kills bacteria, cleans your clothes, stuff like that. So we don't actually use laundry detergent because this thing that pre-does the water.
Seriously?
Yeah, you don't have.
You learn all kinds of things on the Gathering Green.
It's kind of pricey to buy it, but then you only can use cold water on it only. So it helps with the colors not bleeding and stuff like that.
Never even heard of that.
So yeah, I just have to hit go, probably maybe because of that. But sometimes I see Maria putting like vinegar in there or something. I don't know what she does. Other things.
People who clean,
yeah,
or clean people with the alternative cleaning products. It's my sisters like that.
What I just said was alternative cleaning. Jiggamer do.
Your ionic
whatever you say.
What?
Whatchamathingy?
Me?
I thought you had some word where you don't. Oh, never mind.
You mean the Cajun word or like the critter?
Just
I
a
call
funny,
him- I
just a
call him
funny.
Dewey's
Yeah, that doohickey. You say doohickey a
Doohickeys.
lot. That's
Cajuns.
Is that a Cajun or is that just a Rebecca thing?
Cajuns say chut. Like
Okay.
it's like the little chut. Get it off the ground. The little thing off the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we had a great podcast here talking about Proverbs. Always fun.
Yeah.
Because I feel like kind of, everyone has a little bit of different perspective of how they look at it. So thanks for spending some time with us. Hopefully you enjoyed a proverb and, share with us what you got out of it too. Because maybe you see something different.
Maybe you have a cool way to do your laundry.
And maybe you have, separate those reds from your whites. You don't want pink socks like Matt.
No.
All right. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks.
Thanks.